So I think what Hamas did is disgusting. I cry for those Israeli innocent civilians. But do I see you guys crying for Palestinians? I mean, Chris Christie was just on here treating it like it's no big deal because what, Palestinian lives don't matter? I think the real bigotry here is saying that Palestinians, we can kill 3 times as many of them already. And this is the appetizer, Netanyahu and his barbaric government.
Cenk Uygur is a radical leftist with an Islamic background. He is an anti-Western bigot. In his worldview, all the evils of this world come back to white people and the West. Although a moral person with genuine concern for the innocent, he makes errors in moral reasoning, driven by the radical leftist type of mindset. Morality is not being measured on body counts. If that was the case, the British that killed more Germans, including civilians, in World War II must have a moral deficit to Nazi Germany. That is simply not true. It's universally accepted from news agencies and analysts that Hamas orchestrated and anticipated the maximum response from Israel. That is obvious from the type of atrocities they did. If that is the case, how can Cenk blame Palestinian casualties and suffering on Israel? Obviously, Hamas chose to martyr their people for their political agenda, and they are the exclusive perpetrators for what is happening right now. Unless Cenk can demonstrate that Israel intentionally targets civilians, there's nothing more to say.
We say that everyone in the world can defend themselves, can have their own state, can have sovereignty, except the Palestinians. And the reasoning behind that is the Palestinians are what? They're what? The idea is that they are savages and that Muslims are too violent and cannot control themselves. So they must be occupied for 56 brutal, disgusting years.
Okay, guys, I have a quiz for Cenk because he's very, first of all, he's very moral. He's the only person in the world that cares for children and babies. All the West, we don't care about babies. We see them and we... Okay, so I have a quiz for you. Why Israel doesn't allow Gaza free trade, free movement, and all this kind of stuff? I have 2 reasons. They want Gaza's oil. 3, in fact. I found another one. They want to reoccupy Gaza, although they left it. The 3rd option is because they are terrorists. What is the right answer? What is the right answer? Obviously because they are terrorists, and they demonstrate that every time. Okay, the minute you let them, happens what happened now. So yeah, Israel has restrictions on Gaza because they are terrorists. You radical leftists must learn to separate what you wish the world to be and what the world really is. I also had this mindset when I was young, until 16, I think. I thought I was raised in a good family, and I thought that, okay, more or less the world is like my family. Okay, everybody has the same mindset, more or less, yes. Somebody is a little bit more, eats more in the dinner. No, the world is not like what you think in your mind, in your fairy tale. Gaza, the people of Gaza are trained from babies, from the elementary school, to be terrorists. And that is the simple truth. Okay, so that is why Israel has restrictions on Gaza, because they are terrorists, and that is the simple truth.
I've been called a terrorist, I've been asked to go back home, I've had people in their cars making threatening gestures.
For people like Latifa Abu Chakra, a British Palestinian living in London, just going about her daily business doesn't feel safe.
It makes me feel that as a Muslim woman in this country, no matter how hard I work, no matter how good I can be, it will never be enough, because apparently Muslims and Palestinians are inherently terrorists according to the system here, according to the narrative of the media and according to the narrative of the politicians.
As fragile as a spider's web, the Zionist entity is shaking with fear. In an early morning shock, Palestinian resistance factions from Gaza launched an unprecedented three-pronged attack on the entity. First, armed fighters sailed over the Israeli fence to Gaza using hand gliders. Simultaneously, 5,000 rockets were launched into the Zionist entity from the open-air prison of Gaza, disabling that much-vaunted Iron Dome system.
Nothing will ever be able to take back this moment of triumph, this moment of resistance, this moment of surprise, this moment of humiliation on behalf of the Zionist entity. Nothing, ever.
Settlements like Sderot, whose Zionist guests had previously watched from hilltops while Gaza was bombed, were seized by the resistance. Over 100 settlers have been taken as prisoners of war by the resistance. The vast majority are members of the occupation forces.
Are they, though? We must believe you. Like you were, like in the BBC, that you were not a terrorist. So she calls these infants prisoners of war. Cenk Uygur, sorry I cannot pronounce this, said at some point, why is the Palestinians the only people in the world that cannot govern themselves? The fact that they elected Hamas as their government, an ISIS type of terrorist group, the answer is simply yes. Yes.
يجب أن نهجم على كل يهودي متواجد في الكرة الأرضية ذبحا وقتلا بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. بكفي تسخين خلاص، سخنا على آخر، احنا اتفجرنا وانت كل أبناء شعبنا جاهزين للتفجير. عملنا مصنع جديد إن شاء الله تعالى في حالة دخول السلك، جاهزين أخواتنا، كله أفن جاهزات، كلهن يحملنا أحزمة متفجرة في سبيل الله. بنفتح ثغرتين في كل مخيم، 5 ثغرات، وبنضلنا واصلين نطربق لما نصلكم. ستقتلون، والله ستقتلون بأحزمتنا بإذن الله سبحانه. عملنا شغلنا مصانع.
That is literally the Minister of, I don't know, Education. Literally. So, yes, they are able to govern themselves. That is just the Minister of Education. What do you expect the world to say? Yes, Cenk Uygur, you caught us. You caught us with your impeccable logic. Yes, you are right. They are able to govern themselves. You got us. Not only that, their supporters. Have you seen their supporters?
We don't want this never-ending nightmare of human rights. No, thank you.
What is the solution to liberate people in the concentration camp called Palestine?
Jihad!
What is the solution?
Jihad!
Allah
Jihad!
Jihad! Brothers have said, وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ. Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you.
Cenk Uygur, I dare say that if someone goes on top of, in front of a camera and says, I don't want this never-ending nightmare of human rights, is he able to govern himself? Or maybe he's for a mental asylum. Tell me. Okay. Cenk Uygur, is not our fault that an evil mental disease corrupted your mind so much that you cannot govern yourselves. It's not our fault. Unless you think if you leave Islamists to make states a caliphate, the world will be fine. They will be able to govern themselves, like we saw with ISIS. were ISIS able to govern themselves? If the West didn't intervene, they were governing themselves very nicely. So, the truth is, Cenk Uygur, what's your name? Yes, Islamists are not able to govern themselves and should not govern any place in this world. That is a simple truth. What can we do now?
So I've had enough of the bigotry against Muslims and Palestinians, and I need you to speak out against that instead of covering every outrageous, atrocious action of the right-wing government of Israel and going, oh, it's anti-Semitism. No, and there is global anti-Semitism. There's anti-Semitism.
Cenk Uygur, again, if you are to claim that Palestinians are not anti-Semites, what can I say, my friend? What can I say? Okay, so what you want the world to do is just don't accept reality and wish. We wish. Yes, we wish. But the problem is, the same time we are wishing, the other people come and behead babies. That is the problem, though. So the wishing is over now. We wished. Cenk Uygur, you idiot. We should still wonder. After what happened a week ago, we should still wonder. Yes, let's wonder a little bit more. Let's debate, maybe. Let's still debate. What annoys me most with Islamists is, okay, in theory, they don't understand. But when the theory becomes reality, they still don't understand. So we are making hypotheses.
Here in this country, 2 synagogues were shot up, Pittsburgh and in Southern California. We fight against that all the time.
So there is anti-Semitism, after all, because 3 seconds ago, I thought you said there wasn't any anti-Semitism. Anyway, please go on.
But then whenever Israel is criticized, people go, oh, no, it's anti-Semitism. No, there's real anti-Semitism. Instead of attacking that, all you guys ever do is hide behind the veil of anti-Semitism. Do you know why Palestinians might not like Israelis? Because they've been oppressed for 56 straight years.
That is simply not true. You need to separate the core of the problem, the cause and the effects. This problem started because Islamists will not accept Jews in what they consider their holy lands. That is why this problem started. This problem started because of anti-Semitism. And you want some evidence? When Jordan had West Bank, there wasn't a liberation movement. In the autumn of Palestinian liberation movement. Isn't that right? Why? Why? Exactly because Jordan were not Jews. When in the Ottoman Empire, Greece, my country, was occupied by the Ottoman Empire. Greeks, the 400 years, were asking for liberation. We had the secret schools, as they call it. 400 years we were trying to liberate ourselves. Okay, in the Ottoman Empire, did Palestinians try to liberate themselves? No. Why not? Why they didn't try to liberate themselves from the Ottoman Empire? Because the Ottoman Empire was the caliphate. So the problem is in fact because they are anti-Semites. And who made them anti-Semites? The anti-Semitism in Islam. And that is the simple truth. Uygur, what's your name? Okay?
Yes. So let's take it one at a time. First of all, as you rightly point out, on Young Turks, we covered the atrocious actions of Hamas right from the get-go, and we condemned it as fully as anyone can possibly condemn it. Because not only are they killing those poor, innocent Israelis that didn't do anything, those little babies and the grandmothers, it's disgusting what they did. But on top of that, they're ruining the Palestinian cause. They've burned the moral high ground to cinders. And then on top of that, they smear all people of Muslim background like myself. And then it unleashes this bigotry of anti-Muslim bigotry throughout the world that I'm sick of.
Okay, because you are a good person and you have a good heart, I won't call you an idiot. So, you non-idiot. You just admitted right now, okay, that for all what you are experiencing right now is Hamas to blame. So, in the beginning, my friend, you whine against Muslim bigotry, anti-Muslim bigotry. Now you admit that for this anti-Muslim bigotry is Hamas actions to blame.
So screw Hamas and their barbarism, okay? Now, in terms of a proper reaction, yes, you need to get those hostages out. So now let's look at I'm going to suggest what to actually do. I'm going to be constructive. But first, let's look at the unconstructive solution that Israel had. Dropping bombs on residential buildings. 50 ambulances have been hit. 10 out of 25 hospitals don't operate anymore. The incubators are about to run out of energy. There's 45 babies that might die today. The parents I just read on CNN are writing the names of the kids on their calves, on their legs, so that if they are killed in a bombing and they're mutilated, they could find their bodies. Imagine writing the name of your child on their legs so that you could find them in the rubble after Israel or any government drops a bomb on them. And I need the West to understand something. Bombs kill people. And do you know how they kill people? They incinerate them alive, or their heads explode. So what happened in Israel was a disaster and disgusting. But you have to be equally honest and equally outraged at the immorality of incinerating babies and grandmothers and aunts and uncles.
First of all, it's an insult to imply the free world don't care about people and babies. You literally are calling Israel, USA and the European Union some kind of monsters that don't consider human suffering, when in fact these are the only ones who actually care. Certainly not Hamas or Iran, who orchestrate this human suffering for their political goals. So you need to stop this radical leftist, stupid virtue signaling. The difference of us with you, Cenk, is that we see reality as it is. This is another radical leftist, Maria Lupi, something like that. He said, Israel is a terrorist state. This was someone's home. And I respond, Japan after World War II. This was someone's home. Okay. This is the house of Hitler after World War II. This is someone's home. You want us to equally condemn Hitler and the West for what happened in World War II. No, we won't, because that is simply not true. Cenk. What we are witnessing now is 100% the fault of Hamas. And that is a simple truth. And the fault of God, because God made this survival of the fittest reality. Okay. So if a tsunami comes, what we should do? Okay. So when the Japanese made Pearl Harbor, this was inevitable. Okay. World peace is this thin line, this rope. So the default position of this world is a jungle. Always war, suffering. Just see the animal kingdom. And humans, through social evolution, achieved world peace with things like human rights, etc. Okay. And we are struggling to keep world peace. If you have crazy Islamists jumping on this rope and humanity fall from world peace, I won't blame the natural state of things, because I'm not a radical leftist idiot who thinks the default position is paradise. Okay. So, European Union, the US and Israel is the free world. We are not perfect, but you cannot blame the free world for not being a paradise. You need to blame the terrorists who made humanity in this position.